Could this become America's new favorite deer cartridge? Who knows? Hey y'all, Fat Man Outdoors. There's been an ongoing dispute in North America ever since people have hunted. What's the best round to hunt whitetail deer with? And there's been discussion after discussion. You know, you need something that'll shoot long range if you need it, and will work on short range game. You need bigger bullets, you need smaller bullets, you need faster bullets, you need better expansion, you need this, you need that. It's just everybody's got their own opinion. Okay, I'm going to show you a few of the most popular rounds on both ends of the spectrum. Some that are ridiculous for whitetail, some that will work but are not exactly designed for hunting whitetail. And then I'm going to throw in the mix something that's fairly new that just may take over all these spots to itself. Let's start with this one. This is a huge round. It's a 300 Weatherby Magnum. Most people are not going to whitetail hunt with this unless you're out west, maybe in states like Montana or Utah or somewhere where you're going to get possibility that you could be getting really long shots. I mean, like 300, 400 yard shots. This would be good for that. If you're hunting in south central Kentucky, where I'm from, this is a little bit of overkill. I own one, but it's more of a target rifle. I don't think I'd ever want to take it whitetail hunting. I was hoping maybe someday to get to go out west and maybe vaporize some little fellas that lives in holes in the ground that look so cute and cuddly. But maybe I will, maybe I won't. My health will dictate that. But that's one round, the 300 Weatherby Magnum. Right beside it is another ridiculously powerhouse round, and a lot of folks in the area here where I live hunt with these. This is a 300 Winchester Magnum. Now there's not a whole lot of difference between the Win Mag and the Weatherby Mag. Weatherby Mag was more designed to get way out there. That Weatherby Magnum is a great Magnum round, but so is the 300 Win Mag. But the 300 Win Mag, again, it's overkill in my opinion, unless you're in some of those out west states where you're going to get huge long shots, or you're down in Ohio river bottoms where you may hunt a cornfield and you may get a 300 or 400 yard shot. But for around here, it's not really practical. Now, this is the brass of what very well may be considered the king of all deer cartridges. This is the 30-06. This round has been around for over 100 years. There's been billions, I mean billions, maybe the next zero up from billions of these rounds that have been fired. Unfortunately, the vast majority of them that's been fired have been fired in combat. A lot of people have lost their lives to these rounds in World War II, World War I, a few of them even, and then especially in World War II, and then they've been used all the way up through Korea, Vietnam, all the way up into modern weapons that are in the military. 30-06 is used. This is probably the most shot cartridge when it comes to whitetail deer. Great ballistics, gonna shoot a long way, but the recoil is pretty rough. Okay, so it's not really what could be considered a family round. I wouldn't want to take my 10-year-old kid out and stick a 30-06 bolt action rifle in his hand and say, here, shoot some deer with this, because it's a flincher if you're a smaller person. You know, if you're smaller frame, like a small female or a child, be a little bit hard to kick on them. But it is a great round, don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of deer put down with 30-06. It's a really good round, but I still think in my area it's still a little bit overkill. Now right next to it is, I got the brass here of 270 Winchester. Now this round, this is one of my favorite rounds. 270 is because of the ballistics of this round. This round shoots a really long bullet, and the throats in the chambers of 270s is really long, so you can put a lot of lead in there. You can use a bullet with a really long ogive, so that when that gun is fired out of the right barrel and it gets stabilized, that bullet will travel for a long way very accurately, and it's got knockdown power pretty close to the 30-06. Now 30-06 ballistically is a little bit stronger because, again, this is a 270 caliber, where you're shooting a 300 caliber, 30 caliber, which is 300 thousandths out of the 30-06. But ballistically, this 270, man, will get it done, and you can kill pretty much anything, in my opinion, that would, short of a grizzly bear, and it may even work on grizzly if you get good shot placement, would kill anything on the North American continent. Mr. Clay, will you calm down? Sorry about that. That's my cat. That's my sidekick. Okay, the next one I've got here. Now this is a pretty interesting little round. I like these. They, again, unfortunately, there's been billions of rounds of this fired, and most of them have been fired in combat. So 308 Winchester. I like this round. The reason that I like this round is because it checks all the boxes. The recoil's not really bad. It'll shoot a long way. It's very predictable. There's a boatload of different weights of bullets, design of bullets. There's dozens and dozens of powders you can load this with. It's just an all-around good cartridge to hunt whitetail. A lot of people want to stay away from it because they're afraid that it's too fast. You know, there's a lot of misconceptions about the 308. The 308 is no worse than the 30-06. Matter of fact, it may be a little slower. It's a really good round, in my opinion, for folks that don't like recoil. And there's a lot of semi-automatic platforms. You can get the AR platform. You can shoot 308 in. You can. Remington has come out for years with the 7400 and 308. I have one of those. It's my favorite deer rifle. I've killed dozens and dozens of deers with that thing over the years. It's actually the very first gun my wife ever bought me. And I love shooting it. I've shot it a lot, and 308 is my favorite round. Always has been. When I go into the woods, unless I'm just taking a gun into the woods that I want to try to kill a deer with, this is what goes with me. It's my 308. It's a 308 Winchester. It's a really good round. Now, this next round is universally considered the mom and kids round if they're going to go deer hunting. This is the 243. Now, 243 is a superb round for hunting whitetail, but you got to get good shot placement. That's my way of thinking. That if you don't get really good shot placement using a 243, you could have a deer run a long ways on you. But that's common for most all of them, unless you get up into them giant rounds that as long as you hit the deer, you're going to blow a hole in the size of a cannonball. But the 243, low recoil, it is pretty loud. That's something that I've noticed, that out of all of the common deer rounds that people use, I really think the 243 factory round is just about as loud or louder than anything you shoot. Maybe because of the particular types of powder they use or something, I'm not sure. But this is a really popular round because, like I said, it's low recoil. There's a whole lot of different bullets you can shoot with this gun, a lot of different bullet designs you can shoot with this gun. This round, a whole lot of different powders you can load this round with. It's a very popular round. Now, this is, now folks, okay, this right here, I'm going to catch all kinds of grief when I say this, but I'm sorry, it's the way I feel. I'm just going to put it out there. Y'all take it for what it is. Please don't hate me or unsubscribe, because this is just the way I feel. Y'all want to do it, then it's on you, it's not on me. I don't mind one way or another. This is not a deer round. Okay, this is a 5.56. A 223. This is not a deer round. This is a groundhog, round or a coyote round or a hog round. This is, I don't even think it's really good for a hog, because it's low recoil and you could throw a whole bunch of rounds on target with it. There's the only reason a lot of people use it for hog hunting. Myself personally, I'd rather use something with a little more thump, shoot one shot and put him down. But anyway, this 240, there's 223 or 5.56. A lot of people hunt with this. A lot of people hunt with the 223 simply because it's in the most common round you'll see in the AR platform, and everybody, including me, loves the AR. The AR is probably my favorite gun of all the guns I own. That AR is probably my favorite, other than my Martini Henry. That's probably my favorite smokeless powder gun that I own is an AR that I love more than any of them. But I don't deer hunt with it. I'm sorry. Y'all get mad at me if you do. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anyone, but just to me, no. Okay. Now, a little round that is very popular in ARs today, that I'm kind of on the fence about deer hunting with it. It's better than the 5.56, in my opinion. That is a 300 Blackout. Now, what a 300 Blackout is, it's a 5.56 case. It's cut down, re-necked to take the same bullet size that you'll shoot in a lot of the 30 caliber rifles. And ballistically, it's not going to be as good as a 308 or a 30-06 as far as a 30 caliber bullet, but it's going to work in the AR platform, and it's going to have a lot more thump than this little 223, this little 5.56. It's pretty popular amongst people that like to hunt with their AR. Now, it is, in my opinion, another limited round. It's kind of in the category of pistol rounds, that it's not made to shoot at 250 yards. You know, I just wouldn't use it. I just wouldn't use it for deer unless I was going to be shooting real close. But it is a great hog round. It is really good because it's in that AR platform, so you can put a lot of rounds down range, and it's got a wallop of that 30 caliber bullet. Okay, now let's get into some of the straight wall cases that are very popular. Okay, now this, everybody should know what this is. This thing's huge. Okay, comparatively to the little 223. This 4570 Government was used for years as a military round in Gatling guns and a lot of military single shot rifles. Then it graduated up to guys taking rifles like the Sharps and hunting buffalo. And when you got a round that will put a buffalo on his butt first shot, you got a round that'll do some damage. 4570 is a massive impact round, but just to be honest, if you're going to load it for high performance, you're going to load it for speed, you're going to load it for a big thump, this thing kills on both ends. Okay, this is another one of those, don't hand it to your 10-year-old kid and say, here's what you're deer hunting with. I mean, you know, honestly, you're gonna make that kid hate deer hunting if he has to take that gun out to the range and shoot it 5 or 6 times in one day. He's not gonna like it. I own one. I own a Henry. In my opinion, if you're going to shoot this round, the best thing for you to do is buy something like the Henry Big Boy, that's got the brass frame and the big old octagon barrel, and the gun's real heavy, and it cuts down the recoil of 4570 tremendously. Factory rounds, the Hornady is no problem, and Hornady makes a great round for the 4570. It's an all-around great round. I like 4570, but again, like I said, it's not made for folks that don't like a lot of recoil, because this thing will kick your butt. Oh, and by the way, you can load this cartridge. There is load data out there in a lot of books, in a lot of the load data books, where you can load this bullet with black powder. Now, I'm probably going to do a video this summer of loading a few of these with black powder and shooting them through my Henry. God forgive me. I know when I do it, I'm going to regret it. it's going to be on me, because it's going to take 3 months and 6 Sundays for me to clean all the stuff, I'm afraid, out of that rifle, shooting black powder. But I'm going to do it because I've never done it. I've never shot any of the actual black powder cartridges of 4570, and unfortunately it's the only gun that I have that's in 4570 is my Henry Big Boy, so that's what I'm going to shoot it through, unless between now and then I can run across single shot 4570, because I really don't want to put that black powder through my Henry. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. Okay, now here's another one, very popular, very popular gun amongst deer hunters and hog hunters, 44 Magnum. Winchester and Marlin have got a lot of offerings out and lever action for 44 Magnum. 44 Magnum is a rimmed cartridge. You can see that little rim on there. That makes it action really well in lever action rifles. And a lot of guys that are shooting 3-gun, but that are shooting cowboy 3-gun, they'll use the 44 Magnum as their rifle for lever action rifle, and it's a good round. You know, 44 Magnum's got ballistically downrange. If it hits something, it's going to pack a wallop. But the only bad thing about it is you're shooting that big heavy bullet, and it's not got a whole lot of powder behind it, so you're going to start dropping off pretty quick. Kind of like the same thing on the 4570. You're going to have to refigure your aim points when you start getting out to 150, 200 yards with this, because it's going to drop off pretty bad. So, and it's another one that I wouldn't recommend that you deer hunt with, unless you're going to be hunting like in a swampy area or a place where there's a lot of thickets, and you know that if you get a shot on a deer, it's going to be less than 100 yards, 75 yards. This will buck through some brush. It'll go carry on right on through some small pieces of limbs and stuff like that, and not be affected so much as some of these pointed nose bullets that are going to be traveling fast, that may get kind of knocked off aim point a little bit by impacting some pieces of small limbs or leaves or something like that. But 44 Magnum's a good round. If it wasn't, Clint Eastwood wouldn't carry it, right? Okay, now the next round is another very popular round that is used in a lot of cowboy action shooting. That's a 357 Magnum. Now, 357 Magnum is a very popular round amongst handgunners. Been a lot of these rounds shot through revolvers, tons and tons of them. Jerry Michalek has done some amazing work with 357 Magnum and Smith & Wesson pistols. He's set some speed records. A lot of guys deer hunt with these, and a lot of guys hog hunt with these, because they're very popular in a lever action gun. And you can pack a small compact rifle as like a lever action, and have several rounds that you can put down range quickly if you need to. The recoil is not too bad on these. The noise level is quite high, and with a lot of people that makes a difference. Okay, now in my opinion, guys, it's just my opinion, these are, not counting the 300 Weatherby Magnum, that's not a super popular round for deer, but I just wanted to show you a comparison that the 300 Weatherby Magnum, this one, and the 300 Winchester Magnum, this one, is a lot of difference. This round here is a big heavy duty round, more something for elk. But you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 rounds here. I think personally are probably the top 10 deer hunting rounds in the United States today. Each one of them kind of fits a niche. All of them might not be right. All of them might not be something necessarily that I think you should deer hunt with. And again, it's just my opinion. Don't hold that against me. But now there's a new player that I want to put out there for you guys to take a look at. Now I'm going to remove these, and we're going to talk about this new player. Now this little fella right here has only been out since 2019. Okay, in 2019, Winchester's engineers decided that there was a niche that was not really being looked at, and there was millions of deer hunters that the ammunition as well as the gun manufacturing people had kind of looked over them, and they decided they were going to try to come up with a round to fit that niche. The niche I'm talking about is you got several states who have laws or had laws saying that you could not hunt with a rifle. You had to hunt with a bow or shotgun. Well, they finally kind of loosened up their rules a little bit, and they said, okay, we're going to allow rifles to be shot, but there's going to be some standards you're going to have to go by, and y'all probably ain't going to like it, but this is just the way it is. So a lot of those states that do that, some of them are Illinois, Indiana, I think, Michigan, I think Missouri maybe is one, but there's several of them that finally have loosened up to where that you can hunt with a rifle, but there's restrictions. Now, with almost all of them, the first restriction was can't be a bottleneck cartridge, has to be straight wall. Okay, everybody was, when they started hearing about they were talking about passing this laws, everybody was, okay, well, that ain't no problem, I mean, we can hunt with 45-70. If we were all being used to killing deers at shotgun range, we'll hunt with a 45-70, man. It'll take us out where we can kill deer further out than we were used to killing them. So, yeah, that'll work. And then they said, no. Can't be that big. Okay, number one, after no bottleneck, has to be a straight wall case. The case length cannot be longer than 1.89 inches. All of a sudden, the air was let out of the people who wanted to hunt with a rifle. Now, it still left a few rounds that you can hunt with. Like I said, you can hunt with a 357 Magnum, you can hunt with a 44 Magnum, but those weren't truly rifle cartridges. They were pistol cartridges. So accuracy is questionable. They were hard to predict how fast they would lose the energy and fall down off the point of aim. So Winchester decided to come up with this. Now, this little round right here is the 350 Legend. Now, this is legal to hunt in those states. It is considered a straight wall case. But is it actually a straight wall case? If you take a measurement back here next to the head of the case, not on the head but just on the bottom of the case, and then you come up here to right behind where the bullet is, you'll see it's not actually 100% a straight wall case. It's a little bit smaller. It comes down small, but it's not neck down. It doesn't have a shoulder. So they said, okay, that part of the round is legal. It's inside of the requirements of the length of the case. Now, at the back end of the case, this is something that I found that was pretty interesting. Now, at the head of this case, this little round is pretty interesting. If you measure at the back of the case, and then you measure the head of the case, this case has a smaller head than the case. That makes it a rebated round. That means that the head of the case is smaller than the case itself at the base. Now, what that means is this becomes the important end of the round as far as the gun is concerned and as far as your head spacing. With this being a rebated case, that case is just in there waiting on the ejector to grip it to pull it out. So that means that the round is going to headspace off of the front of the case. And that brings up some unique problems for hand loaders. So that means that with a rebated case, This is the important end. The gun that you load this round into is going to headspace off the front of the case. And this will be where a good case trimmer, a good Hornady case trimmer or RCBS or something, a good case trimmer, in my opinion the electric ones is something I would set to the side reloading this round. Getting back to the round itself. This round was designed for those states, but immediately some of the gun manufacturers grabbed a hold of the idea. Slow recoil, produces quite a bit of gas, this will run an AR. So immediately AR platforms started being made for the 350 Legend. Hog hunters went wild. This is an awesome hog round. But also in your AR, this is an awesome whitetail round. This thing has real good ballistics downrange. Quite confident in it at 200 yards. It's got real good impact ballistics. You can get several different rounds. There's, I don't know, 5 or 6 different manufacturers right now that's making rounds. They're really going to be a lot more of these. Let me get what I've got right here and I'll read you some information off of this box. I've got Winchester right here. It's the Super X. It's 180 grain PowerPoint. Alright, so now let's see what we get in here. At the muzzle with this, you got a velocity of 2100 feet per second. Energy at the muzzle is 1762 foot-pound. Okay, now if you have this gun zeroed at 100 yards, you'll need to zero it at 2.2 inches high at 100 yards. Now what that'll do, the ballistics that'll give you, is this gun will shoot dead flat at 150 yards. It'll be zeroed at 150 yards. If you set it at 2.2 inches high at 100 yards. If you shoot it, if you want to zero it at 50 yards, zero it 1.5 inches high, and that should bring you to zero trajectory at 150 yards. At 200 yards, it's going to start falling off pretty quick. 200 yards, it'll be 5.5 inches low. But the ballistic coefficient is 0.221, and the ballistics information they're giving off of this is generated from a 20-inch barrel. It doesn't say the twist, but I'm going to say it's probably 9-to-1 or 10-to-1, right around in that area. You can see its bullet diameter is 0.357. I know a guy that pulled a couple of these, and the bullets that was in them was 0.355. So I think that'll be something that'll be very interesting in some of the newer editions of reloading manuals when they come out, that are going to be actually showing, I think, that the bullet diameter you're going to be needing is going to be a 355 or 356 instead of 357. Because if you get a bullet that's too big, then you could have some wonky stuff going on with pressures in your barrel and chamber, and some weird stuff could happen, and you don't want that. So it's a straight walled cartridge, bullet diameter of 357, and a shell case length of 1.71. That's to keep you down below the requirements for those states that say you can use a straight wall case in a rifle, but it's got to be below a certain level. The Mossberg Patriot, I'll kind of run it by. I don't know if you can see it, but it has a fluted barrel, 20-inch barrel. It comes with a scope on it that I'm going to shoot a couple times with this scope on it. Supposedly the scope is made by Vortex. It's called a dead ringer. It's a little 3x9x40 with a little 9-pair zoom. Or yes, 9-pair zoom, but I'm not 100% sure whether or not I want to leave that scope on it. I've got a couple of better scopes laying in the gun case that I may change this out. It has a 22-inch barrel, pretty slow twist. It's a 1 in 16 twist. I think down the road there's going to be some really interesting bullets come out to load this gun with. It does have the fluted barrel, but this is something right here that I really like. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that, but it has a twisted fluted bolt. I really like that. It looks so cool. It has the lightning trigger, the Mossberg lightning trigger, that's adjustable from, they say, 2 to 7. Now what I am going to have to do with this one, I'm going to have to take it down and do some polishing, because there is a little take up, not a lot but some, but it feels real draggy, kind of gritty. But you really have to be conscious about not getting your finger too deep on the trigger, because when you got a gun that's got take up, then you got more going on with your finger, and the more that's going on with your finger on that trigger pull, the more chance you have of pulling the trigger to the side and messing up your shots and making things hard to stay stable. It does have the 2-position safety. Back is safe, forwards fire. It's got the red dot. It doesn't have the 3-position safety. I would have really liked it if it had the 3-position safety. The gun overall, the fit and finish on the gun, I really like it. It's a neat looking little firearm. It's not real heavy. And like I said, it's got the lightning trigger. It's got some real cool features with that fluted bolt. It does have a recessed crown. I could maybe show that to you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in this lighting, but it's got a recessed crown. Like I said, it comes with some real cool features. It comes with that twisted bolt. It comes with the fluted barrel. And you got a good trigger, adjustable trigger. You could even get it in a walnut stock, but it's a little higher. It's about $100 higher if you get it in walnut stock. But for me, honestly, if I'm going to hunt with it, I'd rather have the synthetic. That way I don't come home and cry about it if I got a big scratch down the side of it, going over a fence or something. It is a free-floating barrel, and I did check it. You can pull a dollar bill all the way down to the receiver. I mean, it is true free-floating. Now, it does have, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but right above my finger here, I don't know how well you'll see that, there's a little hole in the receiver right there. It does have an overpressure hole. I thought that was interesting. Okay, I thought that was a very interesting thing for them to put into the gun. And I tell you why I think maybe they did that. Because of the bullet diameter. You know, maybe that they expect folks to kind of go with a bigger bullet diameter. You know, we're saying 357 and someone tries to load it with a 358. You know, trying to get a little bit more obturation in there and make it fit a bit tighter and to keep you from overpressuring too bad. Maybe that's why they did it. I just thought that was very interesting because you don't see that much unless you get up into big Magnum rounds. Now my 300 Weatherby Magnum has got one on both sides of the barrel, but it's because you're shooting crazy pressures. But now the Sammy Specs pressure on this calls for I think like 55,000 psi. That's a lot of pressure. So you'd have to really try to push stuff up to get that much pressure. But you're not going to shoot anywhere near that with the factory rounds. I'd say you're going to be probably in the low 40s, low to mid 40s with the factory rounds. But now if you're not an experienced reloader, I don't recommend you start off on this gun, on this round, on 350 Legend. I recommend that you take your time, learn some stuff, read a lot, because it's going to be tight tolerances, you know, and if you don't get it right, something bad could happen, and you don't want that. You want shooting and hunting to be fun, and you don't want to have to worry about stuff working or failing catastrophically when you go in the woods. So just be careful. Like I said, I chose the Mossberg. Oh, one other thing I want to show you too. It does have a dropout mag, but the thing I dislike about the dropout mag is that it's polymer. It's all 100% polymer. Holds 4 rounds, and it loads a little different. You can start the round farther back in the case. Loads good and fits the gun real good. Snaps in good and solid, and drops out easy. But I kind of wish they would have made it metal. But as far as, you know, the gun looks great. I like the looks of the gun, and like I said, that fluted barrel and that twisted fluted bolt that looks really, really neat. And the bolt lift is not hard at all. It works really, really smooth. And from the that I picked the gun up, it was really, really easy. As you see, it's very, very, very easy to work. The takedown's very easy. You just got a push button right here on the left side that you just open the bolt, push that button, bolt comes right out. Easy to clean, nice looking little gun. And to close this out, I just want to say the 350 Legend. That's what this is all about. I honestly believe this round right here may very well become America's favorite deer cartridge. But guys, I appreciate y'all watching. I hope this video was informative. Thank you for watching. I'm the Fat Man, and I'm gone. Hey guys, if you liked the video, hit subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell so you get notifications the next time we put out a video. Appreciate you. It's the Fat Man. I'm gone.